And I'm happy to introduce Romy, who's going to be making the next presentation. As you all heard from Susan yesterday, digitizing the movement is one of our goals in the new strategic plan. Therefore, we need to explore further what this means. In addition, you may have heard from our chairman, Dr. Tim Shriver, who has repeatedly encouraged us to share our stories from programs. The world pays attention to stories and incidents, and these drive decision makers to engage or not, because decision makers become emotionally connected depending on the relevance and strength level of your story. Romy will help us discuss the mission moment and help us understand how to navigate and find resources that will help us create awareness to our program. Thank you, Romy. You can take us through.
A warm thank you, Charles, and a warm welcome to all of you. I'll be kicking off with this video.
We are not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising.
Peaceful protesters in rebellion against anyone
who has a fear of difference.
Our demands are
equality,
dignity,
and the recognition of our shared humanity.
We will not stop or accept anything less.
We are deserving.
When we compete, we're fighting for a more inclusive world.
We are champions on the field and for this cause.
Today, our world is more divided than ever.
And coming together has never been more urgent.
Revolution is inclusion!
And it's not optional.
The only choice you need to make is how you'll join it.
With that inspiring video, we can go into my session outline for the mission moments today. I'd really like to connect it to everything that we are talking about on this conference. How do the mission moments fit into the strategic plan 2021-2024? How can they be measured in the program quality standards that we'll be learning about more tomorrow? And of course, after this presentation, what comes next? What can my program do to implement these steps? So after that outline, I can just reintroduce myself to those who don't know me. I'm Romy. I take care of communications for the Africa region. So once more, hello, bonjour, benvindo, bienvenidos, habari, wasuzi otia, hujambo, moramutsi, dopure. I will also be talking about how this fits into our supporting our sports and health goals that we've been looking at with Maria and that we'll look at more with Desmond into the future. So let's zoom in. First of all, how does this fit into our strategic plan as raised by Susan? So it's very clear that this is in our overarching mission. Special Olympics changes attitudes and behaviors through sports, and we can only do this by showcasing the gifts and talents of people with ID, creating friendships, and demonstrating. Thank you, Monsieur. I'll go slower. Showcasing the gifts and talents of people with ID, creating friendships, and demonstrating the best of the human spirit. This, of course, is directly aligned to our goal B, which is removing barriers to inclusion and expanding the reach of Special Olympics through digital technology. It fits into our enablers. First of all, enabler 1, digitizing the movement, and enabler 3, building our brand. So what does this mean for your program? And why should you, as a board member or a national director, start looking at these areas? Within Enabler 1 and digitizing the movement, one of our goals is to make sure that Special Olympics and people with intellectual disabilities are keeping up with society and technology. It's so important that programs include their athletes in their digital and technology solutions and strategies. This is because digital solutions can increase the reach and effects of our work, as was demonstrated so well by our previous 5 program leaders in their presentation this morning. The channels allow us to connect with millions more athletes, families, and coaches. And this is a big part of the challenge for us in Africa region, is making sure our athletes and family members with low technology and internet access are not being left behind. So where this fits into our program quality standards, for example, is in digital platforms. At stage 3, a program engages constituents through traditional or new technology. Sub-programs even host regular virtual events, and the program has advanced systems for online information sharing, marketing, fundraising, online giving, and even managing their volunteers. I will continue to speak slowly. For digital content, at stage 1, the program utilizes digital content created by SOI or the region for their website, social media, or e-newsletters, and for the physical printing of banners, posters, or information booklets, such as our Fit 5 cards. We'll be talking about using digital content created by SOI as we go through the Mission Moments timeline in just a few minutes. At stage 3, however, the program creates its own year-round content and across its channels with dedicated staff and agency support. And importantly, it analyzes the reach of this impact to refine its approach year on year. This, of course, can be very helpful to donors when pitching potential partnerships. So when we look at our strategic plan in building the brand, we know that brand recognition is a huge challenge in Africa region for all of our work and all of our fundraising efforts. It makes the mission of inclusion far much more difficult if people do not recognize what Special Olympics is. We need to put our brand in action in our country markets to increase our influence, to attract more people, and to create new audiences for the message of inclusion. And of course, this is especially important at the community level. What could this look like? Our strategic plan asks us to increase the number of active and physical and digital fans, to strengthen the marketing and communications of our sports and inclusion content, to let athlete leaders communicate the message of inclusion, and very importantly, to use tools and training for our local and sub-program leaders, especially in digital channels. Breaking this down into steps for the program, one of these is social media presence, and I'll be talking about this a little bit more now. However, as you can see from the program quality standards, this is a very rich area of growth for your program. And I can only point to some of our follow-up trainings and follow-up discussions that I hope we'll be having after this leadership conference. To take the first example of social media presence, we look at the first stage, and this creates a good pointer for us because it asks us that the program should have a strong managed social media presence on at least one platform where stories and sporting events highlighting athletes are consistently shared. This one platform should be professionally designed and managed. And this tells us that sometimes in our programs, It's better to do one platform very well than do multiple platforms without a clear strategy or consistently. If a program strategically integrates social media in supporting its marketing activities, you can really point to a potential partner for an event rather than having a Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn website that are not well and consistently managed. You can go to a partner with a Facebook page saying, we have 5,000 engaged followers. And as you can see from our reporting, we get 20,000 impressions on any Facebook Live that we might share here. That sounds like a better and more evidence-based approach than having too many platforms at once. So to go now into our mission moments, what our programs have been craving and asking for is a regular digital campaign led by Special Olympics International. And that is really what we have had over the last few years. We have a year-long calendar with specific moments within it where we can focus on different aspects of our work. And this comes up consistently year on year. We now have our Mission Moment 1, where we are currently from February to April, creating awareness of health disparities for people with intellectual disabilities. And the message of the revolution is inclusion, and how we can ensure equitable access to quality healthcare for all. This mission moment is still running until the end of April, and I'll be sharing more on that later. The next mission moments to come are celebrating champions of inclusion, creating awareness of our movement and inviting new people to join us, and honoring our existing champions of inclusion within our countries and our programs, which goes from June to July. And Mission Moment 3, an activation about athletes who are leaders both on and off the field, called Inclusion Works. And this is very important for athlete employment initiatives and sharing where companies are employing people with intellectual disabilities to great success in creating inclusive workplace environments. So as we look at the calendar, this is something that you can print out and put in your office, something that you can share with your social media volunteers or youth leaders so that they know when the mission moments are happening and what some of the key dates are within them. For example, we had our World Health Day in Mission Moment 1. Mission Moment 2, Champions of Inclusion, will include Eunice Kennedy Shriver's birthday and the Global Week of Inclusion. And Mission Moment 3, Inclusion Works, will also have certain headline events such as Global Down Syndrome Day or Autism Awareness Month. So to go a little bit more into the resources of our mission moments, let's unpack a little bit our brand message and how this is being used to create challenges online for our mission moments on social media. So we've all hopefully heard by now of the revolution is inclusion as our tagline social media message. We hope to make the world a kinder, more just and inclusive place. Special Olympics athletes are leading the way to inspire people to action, to eliminate segregation, injustice, and discrimination facing people with ID, and creating a world where everyone is included. So don't forget our hashtag, Inclusion Revolution, and use it as often as you can on your social media posts. So, as you saw with our PSAs, which is to say our public service announcement videos, we have 60 and 30-second industry standard videos for the Revolution is Inclusion to use with our local broadcasters and radio stations. We can also be pitching this to radio stations with just audio, and we have the scripts for the audio if you would like to do it in a local accent or in a local language. So the 2021 theme is really calling everyone in the Special Olympics movement to challenge expectations. This is because we have a perception of people with intellectual disabilities that they can't do what others can. This stigma is very hard to overcome, and Special Olympics wants to challenge people to rethink what they believe about ability. Inclusion is a contact sport, and the only way to change minds is to do it up close and personal. We need to break false expectations with one challenge at a time. So as we've seen in our first mission moment, it means using the hashtag challenge accepted, where we have a mini challenge per mini moment, and we want regions and of course you, the programs, to take part as much as you can. So for mission moment 1, inclusive health, we've been creating awareness on health disparities, and I'll go back to some of our programs that have been sharing that now. A preview of mission moment 2 will be honoring champions of inclusion and including the dates of Eunice Kennedy Shriver's birthday, the Special Olympics anniversary on 20th of July, and the Global Week of Inclusion in July. Mission moment 3 will then be Inclusion Works and celebrating athlete leaders on and off the field with dates such as National Bullying Prevention Month, National Disability Employment Awareness Month, Down Syndrome Awareness Month, National Coaches Day, International Day of the Girl, and Global Hand Washing Day. So some of the resources that you can use from SOI include a very strong visual graphics. And if you would like to use any of these, which are all available and have been available on our Mission Moments resources, if you need help using them, please reach out to us. We would be happy to put in your program photos in these places. So it's about challenging someone to deadlift if you have sports, if you have weightlifting as a challenge, as a sport in your program. There's a lot of other ones that you can do, such as running, athletics, challenging people to get fit during COVID is another great idea. And these could, for example, be run in magazines like Special Olympics Nigeria did with their We Are Able campaign, or shared on social media with digital ads. And how you participate in those challenges is simply by using the hashtag challenge accepted, tagging Special Olympics and tagging your program. You can repost the challenges already online from our ambassadors and athlete leaders. And we have guidance for you to reach out to your own program ambassadors and the general public in your country and how they can get involved. So the Mission Moment Challenge was the jump rope challenge. And I hope that some, if not all of you, have met this challenge because you're in good company. You will join the likes of Charles Nyambe, Victor Ume, and Ayodele from Special Olympics Nigeria that have all taken up the challenge and jumped rope for 60 seconds and shared this on their social media, as well as challenging other celebrities to do the same. So it's not too late. The challenge is still running through April 30th, and please get involved. So of the several things you can do to support, you can participate in the challenges as we've shared. You can share Special Olympics videos and social content, which is available in our Mission Moments Dropbox folder throughout the year. You can use these challenges to highlight your partnerships. For example, celebrating champions of inclusion will mean that you can celebrate your donors, your ambassadors, your clinical directors, or anyone else you'd like to honor for their contribution to Special Olympics in your program. Another option is sourcing broadcast support on national television for our PSA videos and audio messages. And you can also promote and encourage the sharing and signing of our inclusion pledge online. So I'd like to leave some time for questions. So I'm going to finish with talking about our trainings that are to come. There's only so much we can talk about within this session, but some of the trainings that we as the region have identified and have also heard from you, our program leaders and program staff, are trainings that are needed, such as Facebook for beginners, where we'll go through some of the basics like using your official accredited Special Olympics logo as your profile picture, how to make an engaging and attractive post using hashtags and tagging your partners. We'll go through Twitter for beginners, Instagram for beginners, and I'll go back to my first point, which is that we shouldn't feel pressured to be on all the platforms. We should rather do less platforms well. But I'd also like to address the question that we receive on whether your program needs a website. A website, of course, has many benefits for an active and vibrant program with the staff and resources to manage a website. But we also have some interesting learnings from our Africa region programs on what the challenges of a website are. How expensive is it? How easy is it to upload regular content? Do they find their audience and stakeholders using their website? So we really want to get into these details and be strategic around them. We will then also have a training on our Kazan 2022 Games Toolkit, which for those of you who aren't familiar is our World Winter Games, which is scheduled for January 2022 in Kazan, Russia, for which we have some beautiful resources that you may be interested to use either for your program or on behalf of supporting other programs from Africa region who will be attending the Games. And in the same vein, gearing up for Berlin 2023, our next World Summer Games following our World Games in Abu Dhabi 2019. And that also does not include our Special Olympics International webinars that will continue to be offered on our Mission Moments. So we'll be having more webinars on Mission Moments 2, Champions of Inclusion, and Mission Moments 3, Inclusion Works, focusing on athlete employment. So one of the important points that I would like to note is that it's when we work together with you and your program on these trainings, where we've seen most success is where national directors have fully handed off this responsibility to a staff member that understands the Special Olympics goals on social media, but is also very willing to learn and take instruction and take training one-on-one from our region and a staff member like me, where they can really quickly make improvements and receive feedback on their Facebook or social media pages. Several programs have, for example, made me an admin of their page while I help someone take a look at the branding, logos, grouping of stories, trying to make the first Facebook albums of good photo and video content. And this is something that can really help elevate your page and attract followers so that your growth will be quicker going forward. And before I can bring my presentation to a close and open up for some questions, as I see some questions coming into the box and into chat, I would like to once more go through our conference dashboard. I hope you've all visited our conference dashboard. Crystal will be putting up the link to our conference dashboard in our chat box, as I believe she's been doing throughout the last 2 days. But to highlight, we do have under each of our session resources a list of helpful links, such as our videos, our presentations will be added after the conference, but especially tools and guides such as for my session, our mission moments, our video on the Inclusion Manifesto, the Special Olympics Style Guide, the Special Olympics Story Starter resources, and the link to website post submissions for Special Olympics International. A reminder to all of those who attended our first marketing and communications workshops held in 2019 that we have a Dropbox available to all programs with all of the latest resources and assets that we receive from Special Olympics International. And I think with that, I will now open up a Q&A, if that's fine. I will have a look at the Q&A box, but I will also be looking out for our athlete leaders to raise their hands as attendees, and I will recognize them and allow them to speak verbally. So let's have a look at our chat and Q&A box. The first one that I see is from Nyeni Chagbele from Special Olympics Togo. He says in French, if I can understand it, which strategy or procedure do we use for an analysis and evaluation of all projects and programs numerically? Okay, I think this may be a question that's a little bit broader than just our mission moments and social media. But I think, oh no, I think he's looking at IT. So that's a great question. And for that, we can actually go back to one of my slides, Nyeni, to the program quality standards. Let me share again. If you'll give me a moment. All right. I'll take us back to our program quality standards for digitizing the movement, because this has very helpful guidance for us. And indeed, it is something that we use when we are looking at the future of programs and doing things such as site visits. I'll zoom in a little bit to my slide here. Yes, okay. So how we might measure is whether a program is engaging constituents with customized apps and technology. That is really a very far reach for a lot of our programs, but it does happen in other countries, and of course we will get there one day. But for now, it's engaging constituents through traditional technologies such as email, Facebook, and regular virtual events. Stage 2 is engaging constituents through new technology, and this includes things like Zoom and Microsoft Teams that was spoken to very well by our presenters previously today on their health work. We then look at and I spoke a little bit to content creation and social media platforms, but another one is competition management. How well are you keeping records of your competition data and maintaining consistent and regularly updated records of the performance of your athletes? This is something where we want to move towards in what was previously our GMS system and going towards Special Olympics Connect. Ideally, at the top level, Nyeni, we would be wanting to be able to share consistent, reliable, and on-demand data on competitions for engaging fans and media locally. So using the Special Olympics Togo National Games as a good contact point with your local media to be able to report on Twitter or on their websites the results that are coming in from the 100 meters or from the football fields. And that is, I could go a little bit further into that, but I also want to make time for just another question. But please feel free to reach out to me online, Nyeni. Another one is Anik. She asks an excellent question, which is something we've discussed often as the region. Could it be possible to create a Special Olympics communication volunteer WhatsApp group, or to sometimes have a Zoom meeting? This is a question from Silva, who is our communications officer for Burkina Faso. Wonderful question, Anik, and thank you for asking it. We have been looking into that as the region on making a WhatsApp group specifically around communication and social media. And there'll be more to come on that from me soon. I will just now look at any comments in the chat box, but I will be needing to close the session soon. I'll stop sharing my PowerPoint. Okay, I'm just looking at any of our resources. All right, Crystal has shared in our resources box, in our chat box, where you can find our conference dashboard resources. And I would like to follow up with Anik and Nyeni after this session. But I think let me close it there, because I'm sure Charles Nyambe has some words of wisdom for us. Okay, I see one raised hand, and it's from a program Special Olympics Lesotho, and I will just give them the last minute of my time to be able to ask a question. Rasta from Special Olympics Lesotho, you are recognized, and I've allowed you to talk, so please unmute yourself and we will hear your question. Rasta Ntalani Mako from Special Olympics Lesotho, I've asked you to unmute yourself. If we don't hear from you, then you're welcome to send me an email following my session, and I will hand over back to Charles Nyambe in interests of finishing off today on time. Thank you, and over to you, Charles.
Thank you very much, Romy, and thank you very much to your skills and navigating us through what you're good at. It was a very well delivered session, and I would like to encourage all delegates to please reach out to Romy for more information on this subject, and she'll gladly be able to assist you. I always encourage programs. Please reach out to us. We're here to save you. We're here to make your lives easy in terms of delivery of Special Olympics. We are a resource to you. So please reach out to us. We will gladly serve you.